We are constantly instructed to think for ourselves. It is the core secular directive of our age. But push that logic to its limit and see if it doesn't break in your hands. For 5 years, the author of Furqan conducted a deliberate intellectual siege, attempting to map the extreme outer boundaries of human cognition. Winning arguments against rationalists yielded nothing but a hollow victory. Deconstructing the logic of others simply left a void where fulfillment should have been. A disturbing paradox emerged. If our finite human intellect is an inherently flawed instrument, we lack a reliable mechanism to identify objective truth on our own. Pushing autonomous reason to its extreme doesn't lead to a new height of freedom. It escorts the seeker directly to a pitch-black existential dead end. That 5-year siege ended in a silent room, born of utter intellectual exhaustion. In that room, the author reached for a weathered copy of the Quran. His eyes landed on the printed headline for Surah 25. Revelation is the criterion for distinguishing between right and wrong, Furqan. This realization prompted an act of post-deliberative entrustment. The author lifted the book and placed it physically on top of his head, an admission that the word of Allah sits enthroned far above the human skull. Intellectual clarity began at the moment logic recognized its own limits and surrendered the throne to revelation. Surrender is the entry point, but it opens onto a complex internal battlefield. This model outlines 3 degrees of the soul. Beyond base desires, the deeper danger is the inspired soul. When a heart tastes spiritual light, Shaitan weaponizes a brilliant mind against itself. Inner insights distort into intellectual vanity, leading to lawless syncretism, where intuition replaces revelation. To survive this opening, the heart must remain subordinate to the criterion. The inner path is not an alternative to the sunnah, it is the sunnah flowering inwardly. Navigating a genuine spiritual awakening is inherently destructive if the seeker refuses to anchor their heart beneath revelation. We can scale this internal psychology to the global stage. The modern West acts as a human ego, trapped worshipping its own autonomous reason. This systemic reliance on human logic has devolved into moral and linguistic chaos, leading the secular world to demand that Islam deform itself to fit within changing secular frameworks. The author's solitary crisis of reason mirrors the structural collapse currently engulfing global civilization. We are witnessing a grand convergence, where the secular world hits a wall across 3 independent timelines simultaneously. Demographically, the trajectory is unstoppable. The global Muslim population is tracking toward a 1 in 3 share by the latter half of this century. Materially, macro-system models like the Club of Rome have long projected a structural industrial decline for this exact same mid-century window. A final timeline connects modern environmental data to ancient eschatology. This image records a physical reality, the rapid, unprecedented depletion of the Euphrates River, leaving boats stranded on cracked earth. This geological shift marks the literal fulfillment of a prophetic milestone, anchoring a measurable environmental crisis to a specifically recorded timeline. When the secular industrial engine stalls, it loses its material authority at the same moment a shifting global population and a drying riverbed strip away its moral dominance. These are overlapping gears in a single closing window of time. The rampant demonization and media fear-mongering seen today is a defensive reflex, the reaction of an expiring worldview that senses it has run out of road. The author survived this exact collision in his own mind 50 years before the rest of civilization hit that same wall. The exit strategy for humanity remains the one found in that quiet room. We must drop the lethal illusion of self-ownership and strip reason of its false throne. This surrender leads to Haq al-Yaqeen, a destination of absolute, undeniable stillness. The path from raw panic to stillness requires humanity to place the unyielding criterion back over its head.